After Dave went to Western to study music for a little bit, I was just around here working. I'd see him once in a while, but in the summer he'd come home and we're putting a band together again. Some of the guys, we always wanted to practice together, and then if a gig come up, we'd play. And so we had, I can't remember the whole band, but John Payne and Roger Burns were in it. And school year's coming around again, and Dave says, I'm going to go to Ann Arbor. I'm going to, because I take a different path. He knew what he wanted to do. And so we talked about moving the band up there, and I was for it. And I wasn't doing much around here. I think I was working for a mason, carrying bricks and stuff. And I had, I said yeah, and went up with Dave a couple times, and oh, I love the town. We got up there, this is music happening, some stuff, and I said, let's do this. And so maybe it's me, but I thought we all agreed to that. But anyway, I found a job up there. I wrote to some auto shops. I for a while was an auto mechanic, and so I got a job. We went up and we rented an apartment, and we come back and met with the guys again and said, oh, we got the apartment, we put the deposit down, it's all set up, and John or Roger, somebody had this look like, you guys are really doing that? And so I don't remember, it could have been me from the start, misunderstanding him, but Dave and I went, and I worked in the auto shop and he went to school. And the cool thing musically for me, I needed to make a living, and I wasn't going to college, but there was a bunch of music up there, and he would take me to seminars at the college, or he would include me in one of his classes. If he'd write something, he would write it for sax, and I'd get some time off, and I'd go play in class with him. And there was a jazz club called Eclipse Jazz, and we bought tickets to see maybe a dozen top name world-class people, cheap. And this club was just getting going, and they had a jazz, can't think of the word, not a jam session, a clinic, yeah. And these guys, some younger guys put this together. They were astounded at, 100 people showed up the first one, and they're like, what do we do now, We just went all around the room and started to learn some of the basics of how to play jazz up there. So it was a great musical experience for me to go to Ann Arbor with Dave and work as an auto mechanic. Spectrum started when we got a gig at the Holiday Inn. It was the disco era, and all kinds of clubs everywhere had live music. People are disco dancing. And we said, let's do this. And so we put it together. We had Dick Newman and Case Stickney, and I can't remember, Steve Nichols on bass, and me on sax, and Kay played some too. And we started at the Holiday Inn, and we got it going. We had a disco show there and a good turnout. And we said, what next? Let's take this on the road. And so we asked everybody, do you want to do this? And Dick didn't want to go. He wanted to do something else. So I think probably Johnny Payne said Greg Horn. So we got together with him. Well, Greg been out on the road, and it was good for us because he knew somebody to call. He knew what to do. He knew what we had to do, and so we took off with the band. So we're traveling across country, playing disco and Chick Corea and Earth, Wind and Fire. A real strange mixture. Some of the stuff they wanted to hear, and some of the stuff we wanted to play, but it worked.
I knew several agents, but I knew this one agent that would book the band in kind of rooms that we wanted to do or that we could do at the time. And there was a lot of disco going, still was big in the late 70s, It was either disco or hard rock and roll, and some quirky college places would tolerate fusion or something in that progressive vein. So we bent our material to fit one or the other, but we still, we'd play Weather Report songs to cover them in a disco venue, and it seemed to work. Sometimes they danced, but a lot of times they just gawked and couldn't believe we were doing such a thing, and which was kind of cool because typically they liked it.
Wolf Creek Pass, there's songs about Wolf Creek Pass because it's up in the Rocky Mountains. And if you've ever been up there, you know that even in the valley, it's like the clouds are 5 feet from the ground because you're so high up. We went up there with Greg Horn's Cadillac, and we had a U-Haul trailer that was bad. And matter of fact, I think we were coming back from Utah. And it was, you were supposed to have chains on going up the mountains, and there's no guardrails or nothing. So we go up there with no chains or anything, and it's sheer butt ice. Okay, we don't even know if we get to the top, we're dead meat, right? So we go up there. Well, what the saving grace was is Greg Horn's battery died, car battery. So we were losing lights. So we're at almost the highest point with no lights in a Cadillac with a trailer on sheer ice. Okay, it was bad. So what ended up happening is one of the truck guys saw us, the city truck guys, and they radioed, and they had a guy go up there and stop us, go, hey, la-da-da. By the time that happened, the battery was pitch-ass gone. So we had to turn around and go back down. Turning this thing around in that little area, because we're up at the highest part, just around the bend, you know. You go up one more thing, and it's gone. They had to turn the thing around. I'm not sure who did it. I think it was Tim that did it. Tim was a good driver. Yeah, matter of fact, one time Tim, an elk pulled right in front of us, and I'll tell you that one. Tim's an amazing driver. But anyway, I think Tim or Greg turned around. They turned around, we went down. They didn't have a way to tow us going back down, so we had to follow them down. So the solution was the truck's a little ahead, and we kind of followed them. Well, the truck would get a little ahead, and we'd be like a couple curves back, and you can't see. So it was hairy. And I mean, when they would stop, we would slide. It was very bad. We should have died, really. If we would have got to the top, we would have died. So we got to the bottom. I don't even know how long it took us. And we got a hotel right at the very bottom. That was real bad road times. And the guy told us, the city, when they dumped us off, they said, well, by the way, if you would have made it to the top, you would have been dead meat because it was sure ice the other side. But you're gone. So that's that story. But the other one is we were up near that area. Matter of fact, I think it was by Durango where a big old elk pulled out right in front of us. And like the belly was above the car, okay? And Tim swerved. I don't even know how he did it. He swerved that whole bugger around like now. If he would not have, we would have been dead. But, and I woke up. I was sleeping in the back. I remember waking up on the swerve and just seeing the belly. Just, whoa, you know. It's just unreal.
It was at the end of that tour when they had gone out to Colorado and they were coming back. So they were in Wisconsin. And so we had some very good friends that lived in Elk Grove Village. And the four of us went up to see them. And, you know, I'm sort of talking about my brother. He's on the road with a band, and we'll go see them. We'll have a great time. And you know, I was working at Price Waterhouse at the time, and this other guy was working for a real estate development firm, and we were young professionals, and we were going to go out with our wives, you know. So we went to this ratty, as it turned out, a pretty ratty. Well, you go ahead and
it was a dump. It was kind of a biker bar kind of thing. I mean, really a little intimidating. I don't know that we were smart enough to figure that. As the evening went on, it got a little rougher. And I think they got heckled, and their music talent was not appreciated by this crowd, I don't think.
And I also remember that evening, David asked me to come up and sing with them. And again, it was without.
Oh, you did. I forgot about that.
But I didn't, did I?
You did. You sang Soul Man or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah. But I didn't get to practice with them, you know. I think David David likes to be inclusive on things, liked to be inclusive on those sort of things, and they may have been drinking beer between sets, so he just said, you know, come on up. And, you know, this place had, you know, a third of the tables and chairs were taken. I mean, there was just a lot of open space in the area, so. Yeah, I kind of faked it with Soul Man.
I can still see their outfits too. They were like crushed velvet or something with ruffled shirts. And I think they had two ensembles, ensembles, like
A
this.
dirty one and a cleaner
Well,
one?
I think they were all dirty by that point. But yeah, I think one was kind of, I don't know, I don't remember the colors. I remember kind of a burgundy, reddish kind of thing, and maybe blue. But yeah, I think they had the burgundy on that night. And poor Kay, and all that. I mean, they were on the road a long time, traveling with those guys in a hotel room. Like, I'm sure they just got one room because they had no money, and I think she got the bed, and maybe the guys took the floor or something. But it might sound romantic, but I have a feeling it got old pretty quick.
Well,
But they can say they did it.
And they were young. They could take a lot of abuse at that
Yeah.
time, I'm sure there was a lot of laughs, though.
I know that these were a great bunch of guys, and I really felt valued and respected by my bandmates. And there's nothing like doing something like that when you're so young. And I've been in many bands and groups since, but never really felt that kinship of just that brotherhood of these young kids who were doing this, able to do this and make a living at it, something that we loved. And that ability to just, that instant gratification of just moving people, there's nothing like it.